The future of talk is here. Power 102 Digital.
Yes, indeed it is. Good afternoon and welcome to Hard Talk Power 102 Digital Thursday. Today, our host is none other than Mickela Panday. Good afternoon, Mickela.
Good afternoon, Dave. How are you? Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm okay.
What is the weather like in Port of Spain? I'm in South today, so what
Well,
is it like in the North?
it's overcast. Seems like it wants to rain, but right now it's just overcast.
Because it's raining in South. Yes, it's been
Yeah.
like that all day. How are things
Yes.
otherwise? How are things?
Well, just cool. You know me, normal rolling with the punches.
Of course, of course, of course. And
Yes.
so I thought you're the first person I would be having a discussion with about a little case that I won that I won last week Wednesday. I
Yes.
know I'd sent you a little text on it, but
Yeah.
I wanted to not so much about the case, but just for us to discuss. And I have a couple of young people listening as well.
Hmm.
The importance of freedom of speech for any democracy, but really looking to control and the way we speak about each other, especially in politics.
Yeah.
Um, you know, people, I never spoke about the matter. I filed the matter in 2020. And the defendant, Mr. Alexander, everybody knows that now, never mentioned it, and neither did I. I said, listen, let's the process take its course.
Yes.
And it went on and all that. And yes, I went through cross-examination and everything like everyone else.
Hmm.
And I stuck with it. And so many people were, my family members, don't worry about it. My sisters especially just, this is what happens. And I said, no. This is not what happens. You're allowed to say anything about me. You're allowed to hold me to account
Hmm.
for things that I do and things that I say, because I have chosen to enter, the political arena and have a public life. But you're not allowed to say, according as the court said, an obvious malicious untruth
Hmm.
about me. And I really had to. I found it was to me very important to clear my name and reputation, because what he had said, which has now been found, and the court also said that he had absolutely no defense.
Hmm.
What he had said was that I took money from the Syrians to split votes.
Hmm.
Um, and that is, what, sometimes people can manipulate the truth when they speak.
Hmm.
This is not even a manipulation of the truth, Dave. This is a lie.
Hmm.
So you had to make that up
Hmm.
and think about that yourself,
Yeah.
um, and make up an outright untruth, a malicious untruth, as the courts have said, about somebody else. And this is the politics we have and we engage in Trinidad, and most of them do. Most of them do. I have never ever, I mean, I got involved in electoral politics in 2007, and no one can ever say that I did anything like that to any opponent in Parliament, where you're covered by privilege. Never, never. Because the way we conduct ourselves when the public are looking at us is so important.
Very much so.
It's so important. And you see people being proud that they're called pepper mouth.
Hmm.
And you see the Parliament channel, which I have to admit I don't look at anymore.
Hmm.
Just, I don't even know how to really describe it. Is I think I wouldn't even say rum shop politics. I think people have more respect for each other in the rum shop
Hmm.
than they do when you hear them speak in Parliament. And then, of course, during election time, to you know character assassination or whatever they're trying to do, um, you start to get so personal with people as well.
Hmm.
I've heard some of the most atrocious things said about Dr. Rowley. and his family.
Hmm.
And that's another thing, your family, your wife, your children. Um, a line has to be drawn, Dave.
Yeah.
And for me, I also felt the need to stand up because I could have ignored it. I could have ignored it because, but I said, no way. If one person hears an untruth and believes that, that's one person too many.
Hmm.
Um, and you're posting it on Facebook and people are sharing it and all these things. You know how social media is. A long time ago, you go to a political meeting and the only people who hear it are the people who are there.
Yeah.
That's not the case with social media. Within a matter of minutes, things can spread.
Yeah.
And you have to be cautious of the way that you speak about each other. And you have to, you set an example also for younger people. I know so many younger people. I work with young people and I always say to them, listen,
Yeah.
you can get involved in politics. This is great. And, you can make change and put a positive side to it. And it's always, nah, 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 not me, not me, not me. I don't want that. I said, what is wrong? They don't want to get, nah, I don't, I shy away from that because I don't like the mudslinging and the character assassination. And they will talk about my family and all these things.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have to stand up. That's my view. You have to stand up for truth
Hmm.
and what's right. Now Mr. Alexander, for example, even and I you've read the judgment, so you know exactly what I'm speaking about. But I
Yes.
heard him today saying that he's left politics and all of this. I'm not too sure, but again, he says the use that people bringing cases, and apparently he has 10 lawsuits, three of which I've heard
Hmm.
there's been judgment and he has lost. And but first of all, if you have 10 lawsuits against you, something is wrong.
Right.
Something is seriously wrong. you
Yes.
know
Hmm.
it can be everybody is wrong, but he was saying that the use that the public should be very worried about the use of the courts to silence political opponents. And I felt that was so disingenuous.
Hmm.
I really, really did. I am for freedom of speech, of course, because you cannot have a democracy without people being able to speak freely.
That's
And I
right.
always said that, and I enjoy that. And I how I feel about accountability and transparency, and people should be held to account. But when he said that in the wake of the judgment, I went back to this judgment and I'm reading this, and I just want to say this, to you and our listeners. The court is of the respectful view that the statement was malicious and designed to sensationalize an obvious untruth that was fabricated for personal political gain and to denigrate and disparage the claimant. It is not fair comment, and it clearly does not meet the requirements of Reynolds privilege. No other defense is open to the defendant on the facts before the court. That is not me using the court. I can't speak about anybody else's case, obviously, because I don't know anything about it. But that's not using the court to silence people. That's using the court to clear your name.
That's right.
That's using the court. People think that you're taking money to split votes and to do this, all these mad things. I don't even. And never once, and I want people to know in terms of defamation, the first thing you do is you send a pre-action protocol letter. And that is pre-action before legal action.
Yeah.
And you send the letter, and when you send the letter, it allows the other person whom you're sending it to apologize, to retract. You don't just jump into court, court, and it's not an easy thing. And although I'm a lawyer, it's not nice
Hmm.
um, having to participate as a client. I didn't enjoy it at all. But you don't even respond. And the judge himself had said, you have all the way up until the trial to apologize and to correct what you've said.
That's right.
So you can't say that you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. That is not anybody else's fault.
Hmm.
That is not that you've had to resign or something like that. I think he said that he's resigning or going to resign or resigned. I'm not sure. And that's not anybody else's fault. And it is quite sad that up to this, it's happened, and let's move on and learn from it. You still, sort of living in this victimhood of, poor me. Well, you just didn't have to lie.
That's right.
And make it up. I don't, like I said, I don't know about the other cases, but you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars against you.
Hmm.
10 lawsuits. This is not me saying or making this up. I read it today in the newspaper. It was sent to me. If Dave, if you had 10 lawsuits against you for being on the radio and saying things about people, would you not stop and take check and say, I
Yeah,
wonder if something is not right here?
it would not have reached 10.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
You kind of get to the state and you say, you know, I've got to be careful of what I say.
that's right.
Um, and I think it's good. And I keep on saying this, it's good. To tell the public, and you're going to have a press conference, which I will tell you now, I will be listening to.
Hmm.
And if it happens again, I'll go again.
Yeah.
I will. You have to stand up
Hmm.
sometimes, and dare I say, not calling him that, but in general, to people who can be bullies.
Hmm.
And shouting down at people and telling untruths is not what politics is about. Because when you are saying something good, and when you're making good points, nobody's going to listen to you.
That's right.
Nobody's going to listen to you because you raise some brilliant issues and highlighted issues. Nobody's ever going to deny that. And that's good. But it all comes, it is, what's how are we to believe what you say
Hmm.
when a court of law is saying that you have not told the truth and you try to sensationalize things? I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. And again, like I say, we're coming into an election, next year everything will start to heat up. And I know it's 2025, but things start heating up. And
Yeah.
I hope that politicians, both sides of the divide and all the other parties, will have that level of respect, hold people to account, and Pekong is great.
Hmm.
That's what makes our politics exciting and
Yeah.
interesting, and that's great. But don't I think there are lines that we should not cross.
Hmm.
And in any other country, the same thing would happen. There are lines that you do not cross. Um, when you behave like that, and politicians behave like that, the younger people emulate that as well.
Exactly.
And then we quarrel with them for speaking. Why are you speaking like that? Why are you behaving so?
Hmm.
And then you see your leaders, these are members of parliament, representatives of, behaving in such a manner. You really wonder. And I'll tell you, when I saw it, when we have, I don't know if they still have it, but when I was in parliament, you used to have the youth parliament, and I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. So I used to just go and sit down and the gallery and watch it, and public gallery and watch it, and I love it. I to see young people doing their thing. But I saw many. It was this one time I'd gone, them emulating
Yeah.
exactly how they behave,
Hmm.
the real parliamentarians behave. And it was entertaining, as if it was, in terms of a play, but
Hmm.
it wasn't a play in the sense, because it was a youth parliament and you were discussing important issues. But that's what you're learning. So if you had seen something good, or you've seen something respectful, You'd emulate that as well.
That's right.
So what message is it that we're sending? And I think, Dave, it really gets terrible during election time.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have to be personal.
Hmm.
Why you have to be personal. Like I say, hold everybody accountable. There is enough that goes wrong in society to talk about.
Yes.
There's enough going on that we need to talk about. Um, as opposed to saying things about each other.
Hmm.
Well, you think that what do you think is behind that malice to and hate? I didn't grow up with that kind of politics,
Hmm.
so I can't think of the reason
Hmm.
that it has degenerated into what it has now. My father and Mr. Manning had their peacock back and forth, and it was fun.
Yes.
But they said, oh, Manning, Mr. Manning is your enemy and stuff. He says, he's not my enemy. He's my
Hmm.
political opponent.
Yes.
Which
Even
is,
back, even back in the days of the Capel Dio and Dr. X.
mhm,
Williams and I mean, I used to listen to my grandfather. He'd always be listening to them, always, always. And he'd be chuckling and laughing there, and
mhm,
it was
mhm,
never anything personal. It was a more intellectual kind of pecan,
mhm.
you know.
Exactly. And you felt that you could have looked at the parliament and listened to meetings,
Mhm.
and we had the parliament channel when I was there in 2007, and learn something. You could feel that if you went there, you sit down and you will learn something. There are times where I'm looking at the channel, and like I said, I've stopped now, but that poor speaker, that speaker, member of parliament for so and so, the other one speaking on both sides. This
Yes.
is this is not a matter of you're saying, oh, there was only the government or only both sides, and they will not listen. They will not. You're speaking. You turn your back to the speaker. And I'm just saying, and I bring this up in the context of when we look at our young people today, what example are we setting?
Exactly.
What example are we setting as, because when you're in the public eye, what you say, what you do, you have many more people listening to you. You have many more people watching you.
Hmm.
And what example are you setting? And I don't know. And I don't I don't know if you feel the same way, but I find it gets worse every year.
Hmm. It
In
is.
the, do you
It
find so as
continues to
well?
get worse. Yeah. Sometimes I'm appalled at what I'm hearing.
And you're thinking, sometimes when you hear certain things, I find it so objectionable that I can't even repeat it. Speaking about people's dead parents,
Yeah.
speaking about people's families, what do you gain from that? Do you gain an extra vote?
Hmm.
Whoever likes to listen to that voting for you anyway.
Hmm.
So what you're doing is that you're putting off any other potential people who will vote for you. At least that's the way I see it.
Exactly.
I don't feel that appeals to an undecided voter. I think that will turn off an undecided voter. Um, but there's no end to it. And sometimes, like I say, you have to stand up for something. And I did, and I'm really happy that I did, and I would do it all over again. So,
Mhm.
but I thought about you today. I was reading the newspaper and I was listening to our commissioner of police. She was speaking at the launch of the national parenting program. It's a program I think the Ministry of Social Development um, has introduced. And I have to tell you, I agreed with her. I don't know. I'll let you in on it in case you hadn't seen it. But basically, what the commissioner was doing is that she was saying, the paper put it like she had complained that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is facing unfair expectations from a public that demands it pushes back against criminal elements who should have been better parented.
Hmm.
And I know our commissioner gets plenty licks,
Hmm.
and I know it's not an easy job. But she says, and I thought about you because we have had these discussions together before. Parenting remains a root cause or contributory factor to violence and criminality locally. She said it all starts at home and complained that parents' failings are made the responsibility of law enforcement officials. What's your view on that, Dave?
Well, first of all, I think the issue with the parents now is that some parents seems like they forget their parents, and
Mm-hmm,
they operate in a sort of a manner that the children will follow suit. Because I always reflect to that time of the lockdown, and after that, when
mm-hmm,
schools were reopened, you saw a different behavioral pattern from most of the children who went to school. So I know that a lot of parents who are looking for the dollar every day, and uh, most of the activities would have been taking place when these children left for school.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
that 2.5 year period, the children were home. They were subjected to and they were exposed to that kind of behavioral pattern that they picked up, they mimicked, and brought it into the schools, because we saw a lot of fights, and it was surprising. It's always surprising to me to see
mm-hmm.
that most of the fights were young girls. You
Girls, gosh, gosh,
yeah.
gosh, yeah,
So I
yeah.
was wondering. I said, well, how on earth that can be happening at that scale, you know? But when you look at it, parents have a lot of blame to take when children behave like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to agree to some extent
Yeah,
that
to some extent,
yeah,
yes.
the parenting is sort of a policing thing too, because you, based on how you bring your children up, well, it will be the reality will face you. you know
Correct.
if you take your time and you make sure that you bring them up in a way that they will mature into well-behaved people, um,
Mm-hmm.
I think you wouldn't get anything else but well-behaved people. Now, if they're exposed to a style of living, and sometimes these styles of living are based on the environment where they are, the
Mm-hmm.
the stigmatization of the environment where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the parents' personal behavior in front of the children.
Yeah.
I know parents. I mean, I used to be in the DJ thing, and it's not like as of now, but there were instances where you see a mother and daughter in a party,
Yeah.
and you don't know who is mother and who is daughter. Then you might have a little facial expression that will tell you, well, this is the mother or this is the daughter. But the way how they'll be partying, you'd want to know,
Mm-hmm.
well, what's going on here? Because
Mm-hmm.
I am the kind of person who would stand up to decent parenting, if decent should be the word I use, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to show them the rights and wrongs. It's a simple thing. That is very simple. If you do this in front of them, they'll mimic it. If they are big enough, because some of these children are big enough to understand what they should do and what they should not do,
Mm-hmm.
especially in certain environments. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
so, so at home, they will be, especially. I like to point to that pandemic period when they were home for such long periods, because let's say there are parents in certain areas that uh I don't know, where poverty is a such an established fact that these people are living below the poverty line and all this kind of thing, and they will do all kind of thing to make a dollar. Okay, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
pointing finger at any.
Of
But
course, we're not being judgmental towards
no, no, no,
anybody.
no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But I tell you, some of the activities that they might be engaged in happen mostly when the children went to school. Although the children might
Mm-hmm.
have picked up on something when they come from school, but most
Mm-hmm.
of the time, that kind of um, way of making the dollar, um, the
Mm-hmm.
children weren't exposed to that prior to the pandemic, that lockdown period. So now that
Mm-hmm.
they are home, it was difficult for some parents to not do what they are
Mm-hmm.
accustomed doing to earn their dollar, and the children were there. So,
Mm-hmm.
so in that sense, you'd find the children who, when they came back out to school, was a different kind of mental approach to schoolwork, was a different mental approach to them being with their friends, and even the gang, the
Yeah.
gang, and all of that. So I think that period exposed the children to that kind of life or livelihood that they brought into the school. And as a matter of fact, when you look at the newspaper and some of the criminal activities, are very young people involved.
They are very young. You're talking early teenagers.
It's very, very young. It's surprising, and it hurt my heart to see a lot of them spoiling their future or
Yes.
what they can probably achieve by getting involved in that kind of behavior.
I it's so sad. It's so sad. And
Yeah.
like I say, the I like when somebody does something good and says something good, I think it's important. The police commissioner, and I commend her. And she says, and exactly what you're saying. That's why I thought about you when I read it.
Mhm.
She noted that intolerance and disrespect and insubordination are rampant in schools,
Yes.
culminating in violence among students
Yeah.
towards teachers and security officers.
Hmm.
She said this breakdown also occurs within homes where parents appear to be relinquishing their authority to children.
That's right.
Exactly what you have said. And we
Hmm.
saw it. We saw on the front page of all the papers, deadly snack run and all this kind of thing. Two teens,
Yes.
15 and 18, killed outside a parlor in Bonnet
Ima-
Tuesday night.
Imagine that.
57 spent shells. 57,
Yeah.
right? Now, when you read it, and again, when you don't know, I can't say, well, this song and right, that song and wrong, because I really don't know. But
Mhm.
somebody in the area, or maybe a parent or somebody was saying, they tell them, don't get involved in this. One of the kids had a cell phone, they make them return it. But you came out of the house at 10 o'clock at night. One of the boys, both of the boys, at 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
Like, how at 15 years old you could come out your house at 10 o'clock at night and didn't tell anybody.
Right.
These poor guys gone, lost their life. Death is so final. It is
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
final. It is so final. And you have these people drive by and just like in the movies,
Yeah.
like in a Denzel Washington movie or one of these, and you just let go. 57 spent shells they find.
Yeah.
And they said, they were talking to the boys and telling them, that, don't go out and whatever, because there's a threat of that gang violence is prevalent in the area.
Mhm.
Say, no, look, I've done silly things as well. Long time okay, you go out and you're not supposed to be there, or you stay longer. And so
Yeah.
we do things, and I don't wanna just um I don't want to just say that kids are bad and all of this, but
That's right.
but at the same time,
Hmm.
you frightened if you get catch.
That's right.
You're frightened because there are repercussions.
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
are repercussions for what you do. There are repercussions for what you do.
Yeah.
You saw, and again, you seen this. Somebody put up a Facebook post, and well, the police denied it, that there was a curfew imposed in Belmont by a gang,
Mm.
and the Facebook post said anyone they find under 35 outside getting it. Where are we living? In the
I,
wild, wild west?
I tell you,
Where are we living?
to
What
believe.
is this?
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And
People
I
don't want to even go out anymore.
know. And I tell you something, I was talking to a young girl yesterday in my office, and I was saying, tell me, what affects you, how crime and things. She says, I don't go anywhere.
Hmm.
I don't go anywhere. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to go out. I said, so what do you mean, like night time? No, from the time in the evening. I don't want to go outside.
Hmm.
I don't want to go outside. And I said, my God, my childhood was spent outside,
Yes. Yes.
climbing plum tree, making chow,
Mm-hmm. Playing
um,
the
playing
game.
kick pan, pole
Yeah.
to pole,
Yeah.
PC, hopscotch.
Mm-hmm.
y- you know, um, just I love it. I love it. And that you're afraid. You're afraid to go outside.
Yeah.
This country is being, I'm sorry, it feels like gangs have, taken over control. But coming back to the issue and marrying it together about young people during that COVID period
Yeah.
would have been, and the
Mm-hmm.
lockdown period would have been exposed to these fellas. Would have
Exactly.
been seeing it and when these fellas and them hanging around the corner and they liming and doing whatever nonsense, selling whatever they're selling and doing this kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were in school.
That's right. That's right. And that was a
You,
very lengthy period. The lockdown, some people say the lockdown was 2 years.
two
Well,
and a half.
school didn't open in 2 years. School went on to be closed for about 2.5 years. Another thing during that period too,
Mhm.
there are parents who are working. There are parents who would have been happy to have their children go to school for this period of time, because by the time school is over and they get home, the parents will be home too, or the parents will be getting home around the same time. So, but while the parents weren't there, God alone knows what these youths were
Oh my
exposed
God!
to.
Well, the gang members and gang leaders became surrogate parents.
Hmm.
That's what it seems to be, because I know that early 20s, and then that's the kind of kid, 19, 20, that's kind of 15, 13.
Yeah, yeah,
You're a bad boy.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want gun.
I tell you,
You could get a gun as well.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I I wonder if something needs to be done to address this issue. I feel we don't speak about it enough, and I don't know how much is being done and how much really the schools can do in terms of the effect of that lockdown,
yeah,
and really try to delve a little bit deeper, and perhaps even when speaking and school counselors or whatever it is,
yeah,
speaking with the young people could
mhm,
take that into account as a serious issue,
yeah,
and then look at what was happening when they were at home and how now we see in schools they're acting out because
yeah.
of it.
Very, very
Because of it.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
I see this girl, I don't know what school it was, and I don't like to watch it, Dave. I don't like to watch it, and I'll tell you why. When I see it, I can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I could see her face right now. So this skinny little one, and this one was bigger, and that just hitting really hard. When the little one came and she fell over the desk and she was on the ground, she was running up and kicking her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She was doing this like small little run kick and going back
Yes.
and run kick. And I said, what on earth
Hmm.
is this? Then the next thing is, you're videotaping it. Nobody going to call a teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
You're watching it. You're cheering
Mhm.
on you. This go and call a teacher. Do something. Nobody have to know you went and tell. Do something. You're watching that like if it's like violence is second nature. Like it's nothing.
Yeah. Like it's a new norm.
It's the new norm.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new norm. And these children are acting out.
Yeah.
Right. That's my belief. They are acting out.
Mm.
I don't know. and I always say this when I go to schools for graduation, something I don't know if I could have done at at a young age, as a young teenager, even for those who had to write common entrance, something I don't know if I could have done work virtually. Um, I don't know if okay, you pass common entrance, then all of a sudden you start school and you're in form three. So no form one, no form two. If
Yeah.
you understood what was going on in the class, if you feel that you're being that you didn't we all learn at different speeds and rates, and you know
Mhm.
if you feel that you're too far gone now, and you can't make up for it, the time, or what is in your mind, or have you just given up? um you see that the rise in domestic violence was so
Mhm.
high.
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
if you remember, they right after the lockdown, I think it had been lifted. There was a spate of killing of women.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, during I can't remember. Gosh, forgive me, but I mean, through, and I'm not saying randomly, through domestic violence, partner,
Mhm.
husband.
Yeah.
And every other day you see this one, they strangle this
Yeah.
person, beat, chop, kill.
Mhm.
Remember, everybody was locked down and locked inside.
Yeah.
You don't know what kind of living conditions people were under.
That's right.
And then we would have had children in that house as well who would have been seeing it.
Exactly. Mhm.
They would have seen it. They would have seen the violence. They would have seen the cussing, the slapping, the hitting. And you ask yourself, when they go in school and they're doing the same thing, where they learn it?
That's right. When I saw, I think it was last week, I saw it on a week before. Sometime, sometimes I try to take them off my phone as quick as possible, but like you
Hmm,
said, it
hmm.
stays with you. Eh?
It
And
does.
these schoolgirls were fighting,
Mhm.
and an adult tried to pat them and all of that, and one broke a bottle and stabbed the woman, and they were like high fiving and like hip hip hooray, and I was wondering
My
what the hell is.
God.
So when you said a while ago, when these things are happening, to call a teacher has not responded to that so anymore.
Well, well, this is the next thing, and I'm going to. I batting for my police commissioner today, and saying again something else that she said. She said community elders no longer involve themselves in raising children as they sometimes face violent objection, not
That,
only from the children but from the
no,
parents.
yes, I mean, you remember a child was expelled from school, and
Yes,
it was a parent conversation with the child that led to all of that.
yes,
It was a factor that led to her expelling or expulsion. you know
yes.
so the people in the neighborhood, I try to be on the ground. I have some good friends. Here's one who's asking me what is the topic. Rajpal, the topic is about behavioral patterns of children where criminality is concerned and stuff. Let me say hi to
Mhm.
Ricardo Duku also. But these are people who are on the chat here. Listen.
Lovely. Good evening, guys.
Yes, yes. There's a sort of a new trend
Mhm.
because I grew up in that. I mean, I grew up with my grandparents. I never grew up with my mother and father per se. I spent time by them and this and that, but I mostly grew up with my grandparents and the people in the neighborhood. In the moment you step out that yard, you were being monitored by these people.
Yes.
You fall out of line. Well, if they go on there, they should take the news home that David was down the road doing this and doing that. They would put you in your make sure that they discipline you, and when you come home it's a different day, and next kind of disciplinary action will be taken against you, or disciplinary action will be taken against you. But
Mhm.
no, that is totally different. The some of the behavioral patterns of these young people will scare people from trying to assist or trying to make them understand how they should behave. There's no way you'd see people trying to discipline them. That is totally out of
Well,
the.
but again, this is what the lady said. She said adults now avoid reprimanding deviant behavior even in the youngest of children.
That's right. That's right. You never can tell what can happen.
If you tell me you saw a video where adults were trying to pull aside and a child breaks a bottle, think of the psyche, think of what is happening in your
Yeah.
mind at the time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
think that this is okay, or
Hmm.
and then after having done it, not to feel extreme guilt and shame and fear, but instead decides to high five.
I tell you, high fiving and it's like hip hip hooray, and it's a the woman is I was a mature woman, and when
Mm-mm.
she fell and they were kicking her up and all kind of things. So I
Oh
said,
God, I couldn't see that. I mean, honestly, and
yeah.
and this is the truth. This is the truth. And
Mhm,
parents, I mean, we know that we are experiencing the effects of children having children.
mhm, mhm.
You know,
That too adds to it.
that adds to it, and like you said before, moms and daughters and fathers,
Mhm.
sons, whatever, they're
Yeah, yeah.
friends, as
Mhm.
opposed to having having respect. But parents themselves, like you were saying, if somebody saw you doing something,
Mhm.
they would be there. Nothing wrong for you to get a tap up to, what you doing there, go home
Yeah. Sometimes if you don't want to go home, they'll hold you and take you home.
and take you home, take you
When you get
home.
home now, your parents want to know, well, what on earth happened out there? They even don't even want to hear an excuse from you because they will believe that
That is the next thing I was going to.
yeah, they know you did something wrong. So don't try to explain. So you take your little cocktail again and you just humble yourself.
You humble yourself, because number one,
Hmm.
your parents not asking you if that's true. That
No,
is true.
no,
You
yes,
so forget it. That
yeah.
number one. Then I say, did you do so and so and so?
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
it is already taken on face that you did do it.
That's
Then
right.
do not come and say why you did it.
Mhm.
Because you ever, yeah, one time my mother said,
Yes,
why did
instant.
you do that? Why
Yeah.
did you do this? Why did you do that? I want to go
Mhm.
to answer. Don't. Why are you talking? Don't.
Yes.
Why you just tell me to say why I did it? Why are you talking?
Yeah.
What
So
what 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 you're saying? Don't be rude. Don't so and so. Tell me
hmm.
why you did it. What? I don't know what the answer to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the point.
Hmm.
And neighbors looked out for each other.
That's right.
Um, but community elders and just neighbors, they
Hmm.
watch from their window and say they won't say anything, and I can't blame them.
Hmm. It's
I
true.
can't blame them,
No, you can't.
because you have to live there.
Hmm.
Next thing, they're stoning down your house.
Hmm.
Next thing, all kinds of things are happening. So
Yeah.
our culture, I mean, it's really, really, really changed. And
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, when we're not that old, it's not that long ago. Things were,
That was like yesterday.
I was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, I remember I was abroad, and I remember that, and I was thinking about when I was reading the article. I saw a style of parenting. I said, and I used to tell my friends, I said, thank God things not like that in Trinidad.
Hmm.
So I was in the supermarket, and the child keep on pulling down this, pulling down this, pulling down this, pulling down this, pulling down this. And the mother stooped down to rationalize with the child.
Hmm.
So let me say the child's name is Sam or so. Sam, mom thinks so and so and so and so. Do you think that's right? And I was like, why are you rationalizing with a 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Don't bloody do it, and that is it.
That's
Get
right.
your skin here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's one instance. And the second instance, and this is in the UK, the second instance was a mother grabbed the child hand, and because the child just want to sit on the floor and scream and all this, and grab the child hand because it's so embarrassing as well,
Yes.
drag them up to the counter and just said, you will stay there. One little slap on the little bottom, just one little slap. Do you know another customer called child line?
Yes. I, I do. It's a different thing. Well, we don't have that yet to an extent, but who knows? It might get
but
there.
but 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 we, it's not to that extent, but let's be serious. You, the ways that you see parenting
Mm-hmm.
has changed.
Yeah.
I'm on the level with you. I'm not on the level with you, darling.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not on the level with you at all.
That's
I
right.
agree that you talk to children, and I have no problem with explaining after the fact. You can do that
That's right.
after the fact, and you said, listen, you know why so and so happened. You know why mom was angry about this. You know why so and so, and that's okay, and you can do that. But
Yes.
you, when you do not respect your parents, when
Hmm.
you do not respect your teachers, when you do not respect elders,
Yeah.
you will do whatever you want to do. And again, I always come back to the same thing that we talk about, Dave. There are no repercussions.
No.
So you get older, and then
Hmm.
the repercussion is jail
Yes. Yes. Or being wounded or killed or something like
or
that.
killed. How
Yeah.
many of your young people are just being and gunned down?
Yeah.
So they say, oh, we didn't know. The same kids that we were just talking about, for the listeners, the two teens who was
Yeah.
killed outside the Bonaire parlor. They say, oh, well, the guy used to be involved in things by the parlor. And they said, but I'm thinking, whatever it is, two young people have lost their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they let go 57
Hmm.
shells.
I tell you.
You meant to kill.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then when you hear it, are you able to picture it, or it still seems unreal and almost like a movie?
Well,
You think Trinidad gets it?
I don't think so. I think like I described it as a new norm, and like it's okay. Like that is how it ends up. You know um you know um it's a young people thing. That is how we rocking, how we pumping, and all of that. Because I am on a chat that has a lot of police officers, a lot of people who carry news items and stuff. When things happen, they post it up instantly. And when I saw that, I said, I can't keep this on my phone at all. So I
Mm-hmm.
deleted it one time. Because first of all, when you look at times have changed. We have to add a next perspective to the whole conversation, in the sense that, okay, so now we are in this new world, and we're in this digital world and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
children now, uh, uh, because of virtual learning and stuff, a lot of children who did not have um, digital devices, let me put it like that,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
are now they now have to have it, because it's a way of learning. And especially during the pandemic period, when virtual learning was the way. So
Mm-hmm.
now imagine what they are looking at on
Yep.
these devices when parents are not around, or if parents are not looking, or as a matter of fact, since that schools were reopened and they are free to move around with their devices and things, who's monitoring that? These children, some of them are so savvy that if you are to block certain apps and websites and things from them, they will unlock those systems.
Override that like nothing.
Yeah.
Like
So,
nothing. Parental control and all these stupid little
yes.
things that they
Yeah.
have, there's nothing. The parents can't even use that.
No. And they are more savvy than most parents. Some parents, they only know is to answer the phone and to look at WhatsApp and things. They
Yeah.
have no, they are not savvy. Let me just use that simple term. They are not savvy. So when you tie that into how they are allowed to behave, that's another thing too. Parents now, to be, let's say it's a parent who is hardworking, and they don't really have the amount of time to spend with the children. They think that allowing them to have certain
Yeah.
way will keep them in a kind of zone.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 Saturdays ago, I went on the avenue, and a friend of mine said, "Let's go have a cocktail." So I said, "Okay, it's a long time I haven't had a cocktail." Because I too am
Mm-hmm.
very bummy, even though I'm a public person. I've been a DJ, I've been into the media, I've been all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said, "Well, it's a long time I haven't done this, so let me go." Well,
Yeah.
we went into this place. I can't remember the name of the place, and I wouldn't call the name of the place.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was there now, I was both of us were seated at a higher level to some of the patrons, so that
Mm-hmm.
where we were sitting is like we like one floor up from the ground floor. And in the ground floor, it seems like it's a garage area that they converted, because some of these business places on the avenue are old houses that they
Yes.
refurbished and stuff. So I don't know what made me look down to my left. And on a table down below were about 6 youths, all girls.
Hmm.
I have girl children also. I only have girls, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
And they are big women now. But when I looked at the girls, you can see, there's the term they say they have the mommy milk in their face.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I'm certain sure that none of them were past 15.
Right, right,
But
right.
they were on this table having these one shot drinks that if I know I have to drive, I don't want those kind of drinks. You know what I mean?
Mm,
If I'm on the avenue, I live Labray, so I have a long drive to drive. I would not,
exactly,
but
exactly.
they were having that, and they were being served by the hostesses and the host and stuff, and they were ordering these kind of drinks. And when I look at it, I said, at that age, I would have never, that I want to know, where am I? There's no way
Yes.
they would have told me, well, yes, you are free to go and lime at that age, but that was our time. Now I know time has changed a lot. But I'm asking myself, how on earth you are into the now times? You
Hmm.
know exactly what is going on. You have newspapers, you have phones with all different kind of apps that will bring you up to date. Google, YouTube, all these things, Instagram, all these things are platforms where you can know what's happening to the now time.
Hmm.
But you are allowing these young girls.
Who dropped them there?
Well, I don't know.
Because they could not drive, right? So who dropped them? Who gave them money
Yes.
to go and spend because they're working? So
No.
those are the questions I ask myself, because I know for myself when I go out, even well, sometimes you go TGIs or one of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you go into those places, those that young people, and you see them going into certain places. Of course, it's a restaurant that families can go to as well. And
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like bar areas and as
Yes.
as well in other establishments.
Hmm.
And I just think, I know your parents had to drop you in my mind, and I said, and you got money, but they must smell it, or they must smell the alcohol, or where did this level of freedom come? And I'm happy I didn't have it.
But
I didn't.
isn't there a law that states that you
Of
cannot
course, there's a
sell
law.
alcohol to youths that are children, in fact, under 18?
You cannot alcohol, cigarettes, but there are, I guess, there's certain establishments,
Mhm.
that are probably willing to do it.
Yeah.
But in your case, you can tell that your girls were like 16, and
Yeah.
even at the age of, let's say, 18,
Hmm.
18
Hmm.
or 18 or 19, there were still rules and regulations, as to when you go out, how long you go out for, who you're going with. And obviously
That's
I
right.
want to know the parents. I want to
Yeah.
know who the parents are.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Be involved and taking that active role in your children's lives.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I saw that's happening, before children could read and write, they could put on phone and get open up and thing, right? So you don't even know colors. So how you know green? I don't even know that green is go and red is not. I don't even know how they know it.
Yeah.
But 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 phones and tablets have become the new babysitters,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because they stay quiet now. I understand when you're under pressure too,
Yeah.
and you're tired, and you come back from work and think, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so but what you do is, like, if you go to a restaurant, I don't know if you've seen it.
Mhm.
I went to one of my friends' home and say, well, because what you do is you play with kids, and they just have your phone. You
Yeah.
give them your phone
Hmm.
and they stay quiet.
Yes.
So I have a friend. The child is like, I need my party. I need my party. What's your party? I thought
Yes.
that's probably the comforter or something. No, that's the iPad.
Yes.
I need my party. I'm going to sit with my party. Hold on, and then what about this one? You eating breakfast and you have the iPad there.
Yes.
I
Yes.
said, no, 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 no. When you're eating, you're eating.
That's right.
right? And then I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, and no, you cannot waste. You cannot. So it's so many things. But
Yeah.
we are now have a new generation. Before you can
Yeah.
walk and talk,
Hmm.
you have the phone and the iPad.
Hmm.
How are
Hmm.
you gonna control it? How are you gonna control what they watch?
Yeah.
What kind of music video is they looking? Everything is so sexualized, and you're so exposed to this at such a young age.
That's right. That's right. So they mature way before maturing time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
And how do you enjoy your childhood? I don't know. I really, really don't know.
well,
Um,
I'm not trying to sound biased here, but I look at my daughter in bringing. She has two boys, and in bringing them up. Well, I try
mm,
my best to assist. I will do
I
anything
know.
to try to see her bring them up into decent young men. But what I
Mhm,
see, she spends a lot of time with them. She works an 8 to 4 job, and it's like another 8 to 4 when she gets home, because she keeps them
mhm.
actively involved in a lot of extracurricular activities like karate and cricket, and now they're into playing pan. So what happens now is that most of the time they would have been on these devices. She
Mhm.
gets them to be into more physical activities.
She's right.
Yeah, so I give her kudos for that, and I too try my best to it's two little boys, so I try when I am around them to let them be like boys. We have to learn boys are boys. You
Mhm,
have to learn to
mhm,
go in the bush. You have to learn to swim. You have to learn to play football, cricket, and thing. Because some people live in an area that does
mhm,
not have that kind of accommodation. So
mhm,
the only recreational thing they can do is to be on these devices.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
You know?
Especially in cities, and then you're living in apartment buildings and things
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Mhm,
And when you live in areas like that too,
mhm.
you will find a different kind of behavior from who are teenagers and adolescents and stuff.
Yeah,
So sometimes you don't want them involved in that. So it's sit there and look at this, and you know
correct.
and you allow
We
them.
have to find a balance. We have to find a
Yes,
balance. But
that is important.
and what you have said, and you always say, is correct. We have to teach young people a right sense of values.
Yes.
And what you said, and what your daughter is doing, and 100% to her, be involved.
Yes, you have to be. You have to be.
You have to be adult. As adult, you
Find
have to be
time for
involved
them.
in your child's life.
Yeah. And most of the people who end up otherwise, let me just put it in a term like that, is
Mhm,
because the parents are so much into the hustle. Because the the
mhm.
the the the, 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 the cost of living will be challenging. They
Very
might
hard.
have to be traveling to work. They might have to hold on 2 or 3 jobs,
Hmm.
and they don't have time. They don't make time. You know,
Hmm.
I say I don't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to make time.
You have to do it. Be involved takes time. You have to accept that first. It takes
That's
time, and
right.
it is hard work.
Yes,
And like the commissioner again, she was talking about, you may even be required, she said, to rearrange your priorities.
that's right. Exactly.
Right? You may have to do that.
Hmm.
Sacrificing what you do for the sake and welfare of your child. It's an
Yeah,
investment.
yeah. Because I know some young people, including my daughter, the moment she had her first son, I
Hmm.
saw that change in her. I didn't direct
Hmm.
or instigate any change, yeah, because
Hmm.
I brought her up. She spent a lot of time with me in her young age too. And I being a DJ and thing, I had to readjust myself with her because I said, listen, partner, the game have to change now. You have a
Hmm.
youth that you need to help
Hmm.
guide into the future in a kind of way. And
Hmm.
she dropped all that kind of partying and
Hmm.
doing this kind of thing and dressing up and thing. And she's still going through that sacrificial period. And I know there are others like her. I know others
Yes,
like her that
they
they,
grow up quick, they'll grow up so
well,
fast, but you
that
have to
is it.
sacrifice.
You have to sacrifice because the road times are changing at miraculous speed now. you know, you have to try and keep up with them.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
parents who cannot keep up with them throw their hands in the air and just allow them to be adults long before the time. So you'll find like you would hear some people, some children talking to their parents. You'll have to look around twice, to say, I wonder what's going on here. you know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To have some youths who have children who are trying their best, and the children cannot speak to them like that. They have to have that kind of respect. They instill that kind of discipline in the children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you just got to look.
Yeah. So where that doesn't happen, you can
Or,
imagine.
or where the parents are absent,
That's
or
right.
neglect them. So you're
Yes.
absentee parent and you're neglecting them.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing there, you're creating a vacancy for somebody else.
Exactly. And that somebody else definitely, or it's very unlikely that that person will be for the goodwill of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
They'll always
Mm-hmm.
make them know, well, okay, you ain't getting that home, look at here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
look at here.
Mm-hmm.
It's no scene, that no scene. You can, big man thing.
Yeah.
That
and
kind
and you and you like that, so the
yeah.
parents are not there, or
Hmm.
or the parents, like you say, throw their hands in the air and they say, listen, I can't deal with this child, the child too hard, and this child do this child don't listen, but it doesn't happen like that overnight.
No, it don't. If you spend quality time with them, first of all, you have
I'm
to show,
young.
yeah, the first thing you have to do, to me, this is my way of doing things, you have to show
Mhm.
them that you really love them. You
Yeah,
you
yeah,
genuine love, you love them, and they must be able
yeah,
to trust you. So
yeah.
when they're out and you are not around, or if you're not around, they
Hmm.
have no problem in telling you how the time passed, or what they
Hmm.
did, or what they didn't do. And so it must be a relationship like that, so that you can have
Well,
an
that's trust as well. It builds trust.
yes.
Love and trust goes together.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So where the trusted especially is absent, we have problems. We have problems because what they cannot relate to you, they will relate to their friend. Or they. Another thing is sometimes people live in a sort of manner. I mean, they probably cannot afford to give these children all what the children would be seeing and liking.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
They would see their peers having it. How the
Hmm.
peers got it, we don't know, but they're seeing their peers having it. And they want that too. And when you cannot afford to give them, if you don't have the love and trust in place to explain to them why they cannot have it
Correct.
now, or maybe you cannot afford it now, if you don't get that instilled into them, and they will understand, we have problems again.
We do. And I want the latest phone. I want the latest shoes. I want the latest watch. I watch this, watch, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
want it. I see my friends having it.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Sometimes, no, no, you can't get, you can't this. And then you wonder, okay, you have to be able to speak with them. You
Yeah.
see, involvement, as you say, in your children's life is in every aspect of it.
Every aspect of it. Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes, even if something bad happens, they had to be able to come and tell you.
Yeah, they must be confident to tell you. They must know I can tell mommy this, or I can tell daddy this, or I can tell uncle this, or aunt that.
Somebody, you have to, trust and be able, because the nonsense that goes on in
Yeah.
this country with interfering with children and all kind of
Hmm.
deviant kind of things,
Yeah.
to be able to trust. I mean, I say start at 10 minutes a day. You could
Yeah.
start at that. you
Hmm.
know it's better than none.
Yeah.
It's better than none. No, be involved in your children's life and know what they're doing,
Yeah.
know who their friends are. It's
Hmm.
your child. And like I say, I know sometimes, parents parents say they feel they don't have enough time in the day. And I know that sometimes parents go to sleep and they eat nothing.
That's right. All of that
Right?
creates problem. You know, I see someone was trying to call. Caller, you can try and call me back, and let me see. I wasn't looking at the phone lines there for a
Mhm.
moment. Yeah, just
Okay.
as soon as I open, the person went. But what you're saying there is another integral part of what is happening in there.
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, I mean, I think to me it's easy because I help my mom. in bringing up my brothers and sisters. You know,
Right,
I
right,
was
right.
big brother daddy. You know, so I
Yeah.
know never used to want to have when mom comes home to tell her bad news. So I used to be marshalling these troops. I used to be
Mm-hmm,
marshalling troops and
mm-hmm.
we can have fun and we do everything, but I don't want nothing go wrong because I don't know how I go and explain to mom when she comes home. And I never grew up with mom and daddy. You know, my
Mm-hmm.
father lived in Portersville, my mom lived in Labray. Then she got
Mm-hmm.
married and she went her way. And then it's a long time after when she had those children that, you know, things happened that I had to help out.
Yes.
And without even thinking, well, I didn't experience that. I put my 2 feet into it and I really got into the big brother
Oh.
and the father kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So much so that my mom, when we had a birthday party for her, she mentioned that, and I was asking her. I said, "Oh, don't talk about that. You know, that that you don't
Oh
have
gosh, I would have
that."
cried.
Yeah.
I
So
feel to cry now.
yeah. So they tell me, well, okay, it's your turn to talk.
Oh,
So I said, Mom, why you brought that up? I said,
oh.
to stay on the down low because I look at them now and they're doing quite well, you know, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm cool with that. But it's so different now. It's very
yeah.
different now. And parents now have to understand that this is an era where things are moving really fast now. You'll hear about something in the morning, and by Saturday, it's like,
Something
oh,
new.
something newer than that is on the scene.
Yep.
You know, so the parents have to take charge of that disciplinary role that will pay off in the long run because
It
some
will.
people would say, well, what do you want me to do? I had to go and work and this and that, and I can't be watching them all the time. Well, then expect a
What
different,
you're going to get.
yes, expect that because you have to understand that, okay, this is my work schedule. Your child will be home now, or they'll be in school now. You have to organize at time settings where you must design your time to fit into their life. You know,
You have to do that. That's what they say. Rearrange your priorities.
that's right. You must.
Rearrange your life. Your life is not yours of how you remember it to be.
No, it's
Um,
changed. It's changed
and I
badly.
tell you the same thing about my older sister. I always remember.
Mhm.
She always like shoes. She always like this, that. Everything changed with the birth of her first daughter. Everything.
Yes.
Oh, what we do it all yes, night and day. No, nothing like that. I'm nothing like that. I
Yeah.
can't tell you last time she probably, she has two girls, and as
Mhm.
you see, girls run in my family.
Yeah.
And and it is your life. It's your children. It's
Of
your
course.
children, and you have to give that time and invest that time in them, rearrange your priorities.
Hmm.
And I remember one time I was saying to her, I said, I just called her cool. I said, cool, when last year my parents was good. She said, what? She said, I can't remember. I can't
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
That's not even in my mind.
Hmm.
That's not
Hmm.
even in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And rearranging your priorities. I always say 10 minutes in the evening.
Yeah.
10 minutes in the evening.
Hmm.
How was your day? What happened? Who's your
Hmm.
friend? Who's your school friend? Right. What happened in school? I think that goes far. You need
Of
a lot
course.
more, but what happened in school, so and so, and this
Yeah.
teacher,
Yeah.
right? And what you learn, and they said that, all right, and so and so, and they will want to tell you the most boring story about their and a friend was doing this and I was playing that, and you just sit there and just listen,
Yeah.
like that's the biggest issue in the whole world to talk about, and and Johnny came and he did this, and so and so. I know what his mother tell him, and oh my God, talk, talk, talk. That's important because that is communication.
That's right. That is very important. It's very, very important. You see, the thing about it now is that you don't want to regret because it's
No.
these days it's costly to regret it. Though. If you
Powerful word, regret.
yeah,
Powerful word. You don't want to regret.
don't want to regret that because it will cost you. If you think you have to work hard now to make ends meet and you have no time for it, when the shot calls and you
Mm-hmm.
really have to put time in it, it's a costly thing that you can't even
Mm-hmm.
work for.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I go around courts and I hear, you know,
Mm. Gosh, yes, yes,
I say,
yes, yes.
my God, and the people who would have to be finding money to bail the children out. The kind of money
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
and
Real money.
these people go and find it, they borrow, they do all kind of thing,
Hmm. Then them getting in trouble for that too,
You
and all kind.
understand?
It's just this vicious cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
you think back, if I had just, you
Yes,
know,
yes,
I know. Look, it could be tiring. If sometimes, like I say, you have to do your own things and you had to stay up till 10 instead, well, then that's what you had to do. But
exactly.
before your children, go to sleep or this, even if you had to sit down in the bed on the
Mm-hmm.
side and just talk to them, or
Mm-hmm.
say prayers together,
Yes,
um, say your little prayers so that they just, so they show that you love them, you love them,
that's
you
I,
love
that,
them,
that is the most important thing. You show
you
them that
know.
you love them,
Mhm.
and trust will come in along because they know that you love them.
Yeah,
So they will start to trust you, and they will tell you things that will happen that they won't be afraid. They'll have that confidence to tell you.
correct.
You
And
know.
you cannot, I don't think anybody, and I know it's not easy when you have to stand up in the taxi stand and rain and flood and all this kind of thing,
Mm.
and when you get home you have to do it's not easy, it's not easy.
Yeah, yeah,
um but sometimes you just have to grin and bear it.
of
It's
course.
your child.
Yeah,
It's your child, and therefore
and
it's
it's
your
just about time.
responsibility.
That what you have to do there is to make sure you nurture them to become responsible people, and that is for a time. After a time, when you see they behaving responsible, and you see they have a disciplined way of caring about themselves,
Hmm.
you could rock back then.
Yeah, and it goes fast. It
Yeah,
goes fast. It goes
that
fast.
time,
It goes
yeah, that
fast.
time comes up in no time. Because when I look at my grandson, I say, "Wow, I could remember taking him all over the place and showing him real boy life and thing." And right now he's pan, he'll have conversation with me like a big boy, and
Hmm.
I like that. I just say, "Well, thank God," you know. I
But
don't
you
know.
invested the time. You invested the
Yes,
time. And
yes.
his mother said,
Mhm.
"Listen, not of course. Why can't he play video games? He could do all everything. But you're going outside. You're playing pan. You're playing football. You're
That's
doing this. You're learning this. You're seeing
right.
that. You're learning how to communicate with people.
Mhm.
Um, with the difference between right and wrong. You can see the ills of society and not want that for yourself.
That's right. Grandparents who have to play a serious role. There are some grandparents I hear they say, "You make your children, you see by your children."
Yeah,
I think grandparents, children get to love and respect their
grandparents.
grandparents more than than
Yeah.
than the parents. They have more faith and more trust in them like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So grandparents do have to play a role. Well, I dropped a lot of stuff to play my role in it because I really
Mm-mm.
didn't want them to grow up without that. I know my daughter and her boyfriend, and they were busy getting the act together too. So
Mm-hmm.
wherever there was the loop, I used to try to fill that loop. I'd say, "Well, bring them by me, and they can spend the
That's
weekend
it.
by me, and we'll do these boy things. We go in the bush, we go and what I mean.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
see, you see, when you turn 14, 15, that's too
Mhm.
late, you know.
That is too late. That is
That
what
is too
I'm saying.
late.
Yeah.
That is too
And
late.
14,
You
15,
can't
14,
you
15
can't
is
turn it back.
14, 15 is very late.
Long time we would have said that, oh gosh, you're still a little boy or
Yeah.
little girl. No.
10, 11
Mm,
now, they're very, very, very smart, very, very brilliant. And they are in
absolutely.
tune to what is playing out
I
in the
feel even 10, I feel 10, 11 might be the benchmark that we're looking at, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's why, therefore, you have to say, look how quick. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. When you're 3 years old, you start to understand and whatever.
Yeah.
But before that, they understand now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's being instilled there. You're spending the time. That
Yeah.
is less than 2 terms in government.
I tell you. I like that swing.
Right?
Yeah, it's important. It is very, very important. And like to me, I am in the area. I try to show them that kind of respect. So I will get that kind of respect coming back at me. It's the same reason why I tell you I'm pushing for this tourism
Yeah.
upgrade for the Pitch Lake, because I know a lot of the young people in the area who are not employed can probably seek employment there. you
Mm-hmm.
know, so I
Mm-hmm.
am, I am always kind of pissed off at the dragging at the feet of the people in authority to
Mm-hmm.
get this thing up and running, because
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, times are moving so fast and times are changing so fast that you can't afford to lapse too much
You
if you
can't.
facilitate something that will put them in a zone that they'll be doing positive things. You can't wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, because they ain't waiting. They are very busy. They want things now.
Otherwise, what you end up seeing is two teens getting gunned down, a 15-year-old getting gunned down by a pal at 10 o'clock in the night in Bonaire. That's what you will see.
That's right. That's right.
They
That's right.
have nothing to do. The
Mhm.
boys there, they're looking for something to do. It's the same thing when I
Exactly.
many years ago, and
Hmm.
I formed this little group called the Youth Empowered Society,
Yeah.
and I said, listen, we're gonna go down in Guaya,
Hmm.
and let me tell you, it's like there's no life after my arrow.
I tell
The
you.
road bad, the this.
Yeah.
Where you see where BP is there, then
Yeah. Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
nothing. They ain't care about the people down there at all. They ain't
I
care about the
tell
people
you.
down there at all.
When I go down that side, I'm appalled to see
Hmm.
the state of the place.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
you're seeing all the nice beach and the beach house and the
Mhm.
this and that, and then you get to this point,
Yeah.
and then you go down and you go and see what's going on in Guam. But again, there's nothing to the boys and them. I
Mhm.
remember that to do this, you sit on the beaches and you smoke some weed
Yes.
and you this and you that and whatever it is, and you're looking for jobs.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
where all the money from the country is coming there, from right there.
Yes. Yeah.
And a stone's throw away from them.
Yeah.
And you're seeing all of this
Hmm.
with no access, and you just kind of there, no development, and it just everything just on a standstill.
Yeah.
No kind of, you're not seeing any kind of progress.
Hmm.
Um, there's nothing. And me together with some other young people, we organized a family day.
Yeah.
We did like things and hot dog and this and that, and we also had raised some funds to put a net in the by the goal post.
Right.
For the goals, for football. And
Hmm.
we got that, and we also did because the netball, the basketball, the net, they didn't have that, so we did that. Just something for people to do, and them boys and them real appreciated it.
Of course. Of course. That too helps parents.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
can facilitate recreational activities
Yes,
or
yes.
vocational activities, that will assist parents who are willing. There are some parents who are really wanting their children to do good, even
Hmm.
though they live that kind of life. They don't want their children to go down that road,
Exactly,
so they try
exactly.
their best. But if there's no facilitation and the children are exposed to all this negativity, there's hardly anything the parents can do too. So in comes the police now and start to bring about a different kind of behavioral
Hmm.
pattern from the children, because they're not even afraid to oppose the police.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so, so from the facilitation of recreational and vocational activities is just as or are just as important as the parenting perspective of these young people. So
Yeah,
they have to tie in together.
but when you're putting up these housing developments and things,
Hmm.
surely you must think about those things. I think that it's supposed to be able to have those things, or recreation
Not
grounds or
all the time,
some
huh?
kind of thing. They have none.
No, no,
None. And you're putting up this, and a lot of it is breeding this kind
that's right.
of life.
Yeah.
So there isn't anything, for you're in a concrete jungle basically, and but there's nothing, and surely you must be able. You see it in the States, a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a basketball court or this or something, where you can, vent a little bit,
Yes.
and let off somebody's steam, and
Hmm.
but we
Hmm.
don't have that.
That's
and
right.
and we didn't think and plan, and
Hmm.
look, if we couldn't see what was coming in the future, this and technology and digital, this and that, and we couldn't, okay, but we see it now.
But
And
I
we
don't.
know now.
Well, I wouldn't have endorsed that, because they knew. I mean, during the pandemic, they had 2+ years, two
Oh
and a
yeah,
half
oh
plus
yeah.
years to know, well, this is how the things will be now. So let us try and put things in place so that it will buffer some of this kind of unexpected behavior and thing. Because you spoke about the concrete jungle and that kind of way of putting up housing developments and thing. You can imagine what happened in squatter areas.
Oh God, yeah. Oh Lord, yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm,
so, so,
mm-hmm.
so, so, so you
Mm,
look at the people who are in authority and the planners and the people who we are dependent on to put certain things in place to
mm-hmm,
make sure we go forward in a progressive kind of way. And
mm-hmm,
you won't see any of that happening. You want to know why they keep talking about these things, but they're not
mm-hmm.
implementing these things. And
Real good words too, eh?
and situations are just get worsening all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, what I meant is when we were younger now, that
Yes,
if
yeah,
we didn't see that this was going to be,
yeah,
how it is. But
yeah.
you're right. You're
Mhm.
right. You're so right in terms of everybody. I think most of them, they would have children. Some of them have, most of them probably have grandchildren and things by now. So you
Yes,
know what lockdown is going to
yes,
be like.
yes,
You
yes.
know your constituency,
Mm-hmm,
whether it's a rural or urban or what.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know your constituency. You know how people live in living conditions. I mean, but I have to agree with you 100%. If you were going to keep children, I did not know it would be for 2 years. So remember, that's another thing.
That's
It's
right.
almost as, is it next month? Is it
Mm-hmm,
next 6 months?
mm-hmm.
So it keep coming and the regulations keep changing and this keeps happening and all that kind
Yeah,
of thing. And you
yes,
were never sure. And then you just got up one day and you turned around and it was 2 years, 2.5 years of
yes.
your life,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that had gone. And
mm-hmm.
again, I don't know if they have done any kind of research or to see what about those children who did not have any device. They had no schooling then for 2.5 years,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there were many.
Mm-hmm.
And there were many.
And they were just on the streets most of the time,
Correct.
doing all kind of crazy stuff.
And even when I remember, so we were trying to see, okay, if we could get some laptops and these kind of things for kids, or even if they just have like a tablet or one of those things.
Yeah,
But when you get it, Dave, they didn't have no internet.
and all of that. You know what I'm? All of that. What I'm talking about. They're talking digitalization and all of that,
Hmm.
and there are areas that had no kind of service at all.
Because you have people without lights, okay?
Yeah,
That is a reality in Trinidad and
mhm,
Tobago. I don't know if people know that, but there are
yes,
people in this country that don't have electricity,
yeah. Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And right down here, I this young girl who's living with her grandmother,
mm-hmm.
and I remember, okay, well, can you go on and charge it by the neighbor
Yeah,
or see what you could do? And then, because the grandmother was squatted and disabled,
yeah, yeah.
you know, I
Mm,
mean, really, really hard. And you think, gosh, after night, there's just nothing. I
that's
remember thinking about that. No TV, no this, no nothing, no light. I mean, on like the dark ages.
yeah,
Um, how, and there are many children who were in that situation.
of course.
So
To
you're
add,
not going to school.
yeah, to add to all of that, a lot of parents lost their jobs. A lot of
Oh gosh, yes.
lost some of their work time. Like some people who used to work 5 days and they're working 3 days. There are some people who salaries were deductions were taken away from their salaries.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
got it back up to this day. You know,
Not well, the service industry. So you're talking about was completely closed. So you
yes,
you're
yes.
talking about you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about people who work in the bars and the
Yeah,
restaurants and the this and the
yeah.
that and the fast food and whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, and that's lower paying jobs, right?
Yeah. So you can imagine how that impacted on these people.
Mm-hmm,
Some of
mm-hmm.
the young, some of the teenagers will realize that is happening home. They might love their mommy or love their daddy, whether the daddy and mommy is together. And in most instances, they are single mothers or single parents.
Correct,
So they will
correct.
go outside and, as they say, they go down and look for it, and
Mm-hmm,
they'll bring it home.
mm-hmm,
and that will be okay because it's a matter of survival.
Survival,
Yeah.
survival.
So so
And
so, so that is what is creating most of the problems around the areas that we spoke about. These squatter areas, and
mhm, mhm,
my heart bleeds when I
mhm.
see this is the reality, and I wish I can do so much, but I am not in a.
You're one person. You're a one person as well.
Yeah.
You understand? So you, I mean, and whatever you do
Mhm.
is good. But you wish that you could do. I feel the same way. You wish that you could do, so much. And
Yeah.
I say, look, governments have to make decisions, and if they felt that was the right thing, right, okay. But now look at the repercussions from it. You have to take action now.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I
Mhm.
don't know, but this is where the money has to go on. This is where you have to go and invest in it, in the young people, in
Yes.
the youths,
Mhm.
because we cannot turn back time.
No.
That's what you decided. You felt that, look, we didn't want COVID to spread. We didn't want this. You didn't want that. Okay, you felt 2 years, 2.5 years was a good time. Okay, we are seeing on a
Mm.
daily basis the repercussions of that.
Yes.
And like I say, okay, you made the decision, it's done. Okay, good. What are you going to do now when you're spending billions of dollars in education? Who gets the highest amount, quote unquote, your favorite word, allocation, um,
Yes. Yeah.
in the budget? When
Yeah.
you have that, what are what you're spending that on?
Hmm.
How are we going to try to deal with the issue that we face because of that decision? And like I said, if you felt it was the right thing at the right time, that's fine. I don't myself personally, but okay, if that's, I don't have the facts and the statistics, so if that's it, fine. But
Hmm.
we have to invest in our youth now, the ones that we can't save, Dave.
Hmm.
It's that's too far gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our heart bleed, but what are
Yeah.
we going to do? We have to look at the young ones now.
Hmm.
And what are we going to do? How are we going to change things, or most of them, and invest? I don't know. I
But
remember.
you do some fantastic work in I listen to you when you say you meet with them. You see, when you meet with them,
Yeah,
you allow them to vent and to tell you what they are interested in.
yeah,
And implementation is the key.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, because when I listen to how much money national security will get, and we are not safe. Let me put it simply. And if you take a few millions from that, because they talk billions, you
Hmm.
take a few millions from that and implement some of these ideas, or start some kind of structural implementation of what these youths are telling you. Them, it will have a big turnaround,
It will. I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt about it. When you and that's why I say, we talk about crime.
Hmm.
When you talk about crime, there's short term, there's long term solutions.
Of course.
What are you doing about the young people in this country? Don't wait till they are young adults
That's right.
and shooting and killing everybody.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Don't wait till it's too far gone, where crime is now over 600.
Imagine that we passed 500 already.
Yeah.
I
It is madness.
believe we that reached that figure, but the rate things were going and still going, sometimes two, three a day. you
But
know,
you see, Dave, now we are accustomed to that,
yeah,
right?
no,
Now it's like when it was one and thing a week, and all right, and then once that thing happened where it was seven in
mhm,
one weekend. Oh
mhm,
no, now we accustomed to that. So when you say three, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
three is not seven.
yeah,
That is how you become immune.
yeah, you hear people talking about it, and it's all on all these chats. So it's come like you expect to see that every day.
You're expecting to see that every day. You
Yeah,
are expecting to see that every day.
yeah.
Look at what we are expecting to see. Death,
Imagine that of
death,
young people.
right? Death, killing,
Yeah, yeah.
murdering, slaughter.
Hmm. And
That's
it all ties back into the leadership qualities of of the people who are in authority.
yep.
You know, it comes right back to that. You know, because like you said, the way they behave in parliament, the kind
Mm-hmm.
of things they say to each other,
The
Sometimes,
things they say. Oh
yeah,
God.
sometimes I wonder there are so many serious issues to talk about, but they
Mm-hmm.
have a they will start about something. They will say, well, you see this mouse here, it's black, but these people said this, and they could remember they do this, and the
That's it.
whole conversation will deviate from the mouse to all kind of
What
mudslinging
who
things.
do when they did what they did and how much they
Yes,
thief and what
yes,
happened and
yes,
who did.
yes, yes. So
Sickening.
it comes back to the
Sickening.
youths are seeing this kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So they take it on. They take on their parents. They take on their teachers. Or the people in the streets who, or in the village who trying to help, they turn
Mm-hmm.
away. They ain't see nothing because they know that have repercussions.
Exactly.
You
But
know
who are your role models?
exactly.
Who are your role models? These politicians must ask
Yeah.
themselves,
Hmm.
who do you think young people
Hmm.
look up to?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. I tell you, it's so difficult to understand and to comprehend. Sometimes to leave you thinking as to where we going tomorrow, or what's next. Or you wake up the next day and you don't know what to expect. So all of that is in the taking and in the making. So I would like to see facilitation, recreational facilitation, vocational facilitation, and even disciplinary discussions and debates about mannerisms, if I should use a word like that, and behavioral patterns. And I think a sprinkling of spirituality is
Well,
also
wouldn't go amiss. That would be very good.
yeah, yeah. So all that is what we need, but I think implementation of facilities for recreation, vocation, and of course, behavioral patterns. You sit down and have nice forums with them and talk with them, and you get to know what's playing in their mind. You have to be very open and allow them to vent.
When we talk about this, and I say to myself, and it doesn't happen, and what do we see our country? What do you think Trinidad and Tobago will look like in 5 years?
Well, I'm wondering how we are looking right now
Right
because
now, so imagine if nothing is done.
yes,
What will we look like? What will we what do these leaders
yeah.
believe that the country will look like
Mhm,
if some kind of something is not done, that some
mhm,
kind of intervention doesn't take place.
mhm. We need a dynamic new input of freshness.
Yeah.
We need a breath of fresh air where leadership is concerned. Somehow or the other, people are afraid to put leadership role in young people's hands, like you, and there are a lot of other politicians I know who
Mhm,
mean well.
mhm.
You know,
Of
I can
course.
I can pick out a few of them that mean well, but for some reason, it appears as though if you're not, I don't know, if you're not that senior, no way you will be given the opportunity to do some kind of leadership uh, rhetoric or process. You put things in place to take
Mhm,
us forward. And I
mhm.
think young people, okay, we can have the ideas.
Of course.
Yeah, this project that I am behind, Mickela,
Mhm,
I know the idea is a fantastic one. I'm
mhm.
not beating up myself and walking like no pigeon in Woodford Square. you know,
Mhm.
but I know to have it to effect it, I need a bunch of talented young people.
That's the point. That's the point.
And I will give them leadership role. I can sit down in the back and say, "Oh, no, I don't want, I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, let's try it another way, and I giving them the option.
Guidance from your experience.
That's
Guidance from
right.
your
That's right.
experience.
That's right. That's right. Because I know if we continue putting these same people over and over at the helm, we are not going anywhere because their method of looking at how the future should be it's blurry.
Outdated. It's outdated.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's
the
outdated.
young people,
It
they
worked at
know.
that time, but not
Yeah,
now.
when you look at TikTok and think what these young people can do, I mean, some of these same people will tell you, "Yeah, I never heard that, and I don't understand that." So immediately you have to take yourself out of the picture. You need to guide and to implement and to
Of course.
facilitate, and you
Of
make
course.
sure they understand what is positive and what is negative.
Correct. You have to, like I always say, and I'm not in politics. You cannot, throw away the those who have come before us and their
No, no,
experience.
no, 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 no,
They
no,
are
no.
important. They are
Yeah, yeah,
important. This has
yeah.
nothing to do with age and all of this.
Mhm,
But young people have
mhm.
to also be able to be involved and do their part. These leaders do not want to go anywhere. Nobody ain't kicking you
No,
out to tell you that
no,
you can
I-
continue a life of service till your last breath if you so choose.
yeah, yeah. I have a problem with that. I don't know if it's personal gains and all kind of thing they're looking at,
Of course it
or
is. Of
the
course it is.
quality
I
of
have no
life they're
doubt it
living.
is.
But you can still live that because you've been doing that for so much years. But let us put the youth in place for continuity and to take us to a futuristic kind of level. Because I tell you, they can, it ain't no maybe. The young people now have a different way of looking at the future and what they would like to see happen.
Yep.
You know, it's just to let them know, well, no, that's wrong.
But
Oh,
that is what evolution is.
that's right.
That's
That's
what,
the
you know,
evolution.
that's what it is. It's
Yes.
natural. It's
Yes.
how it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And by them preventing the
Yes.
natural progression of evolution, what end up happening is we reach where we reach.
That's right.
Are
That's
we
right.
stuck?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we in the mud and we
Yeah.
sitting top and we just doing that and we can't move forward because it's a different time. That does not mean that you
That's
do not have a contribution to make to society. Nobody's packing your way and throwing your way, and nobody's
right.
doing that.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
have to understand the way of thinking. Sometimes I feel outdated.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Like
like,
I
I
will always repeat that my idea is a fantastic idea for the development and the employment by extension of these young people. But I need them to be in the driver's seat,
of course.
You understand? I will tell you the rules of driving. And I want you in the driver's seat. I want you to be a good driver. I want you to be a good leader. So what's to come further down the road will be in a practical and positive way going forward.
And then they too will get experience. They
Oh,
too
that's
will
how
get,
they get. That is how they will get it. That
you
is
know,
how.
you have to let people, you have to
Mhm.
let people be there. We keep on, anybody can go on the internet and get all the big fancy words about
Yeah.
digital this and
Mhm.
technology this, and but the
Mhm.
reality is, what is your vision? And if your vision itself has become outdated, then how are you,
Mhm.
what plans are you going to put in place so that you can achieve this? What
Yeah.
are your goals that you are setting? They
Mhm.
will too be outdated. And I'm sorry to, if
Mhm.
you know, this is not meant in any way as rejection or against everybody, but
No.
the time comes
Of
when
course.
your role
Yeah.
changes.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
become
Mhm.
the head chief, as my father used to put it, sitting on the top of the hill looking down at us. And that kind of thing. You move on. You move on
Mhm.
to a different role.
That's right.
A statesman, that
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you
You get more
continue.
respect.
Of
Yeah.
course you do. Of
Yeah.
course you do. You
Mickela, if you look at some of the countries that are in total uproar now, is because these people who have been sitting in the chairs of authority for so long, they don't want to move.
mm-mm,
And the people will get up and create real bacchanal, they're mashing
mhm,
up the town, they're killing up, they're creating wars and all kind of thing because
mhm.
these people don't want to give younger people the reins and teach them how to ride the horse, how to hold the reins, to guide the horse. They don't want to do that. And I don't understand why. Because
Because it's a selfish thing. Because even I look at myself and I say, the things that I have learned in terms of when it is public speaking and this,
Mm.
I want to share that with kids in school.
Of course.
I want them to learn that. I want them to try it. First of all, see what skill you have. You may not even need to be taught anything, but let's do this. Let's pass on what we have learned, um, so that there will be others to come. It doesn't end with us,
No.
you
It,
know.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't end with us.
That's
And
why I keep telling you that you have to come more to the front.
yes, but I'm gonna push them out.
I
I'll
know, I
step
know,
aside. I'll let
I know.
them step aside.
But there are lots of young people, like you said, you have a lot of conversations with them. There are a lot of young people who will be anxiously awaiting to have a conversation with you. So you have to start moving around.
Yeah, of course. I'm going actually. Saturday is there's a home in Tacarigua that we're going to,
Yeah.
and which will be nice.
Hmm.
And you know, and there are enough days in a week that we could go quite a number, of
Yes.
places and set it up like that, especially at this time. And
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
young people, you invest that time, as we've been saying earlier on. You invest that time
You must.
in them.
Hmm.
It will pay off. It will
Yeah.
pay off. I have faith. I have faith in young people. I don't
Yes.
believe, that you're born bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
I
sometimes I look
mean,
at these boys on them, Dave. I look at them, so I see the picture on the newspaper, and that they call.
yes,
And I
Lord.
think, I wonder what your mom, when you were born, this is not what what she would have wanted for you, or
Right.
what your
Exactly.
grandparents would have wanted for you.
Hmm.
Everybody has hope for their children or their grandchildren, their future. When they're born, you have hope. What will you
Hmm.
become?
Hmm.
You know, um, and like I say, maybe too late for some.
Hmm.
They can't get out anymore. Even some of them who want to, but there are the others. We have many, many, many more, and
Yes.
we keep working with them. And you too, Dave. Keep on doing.
Well,
Don't
I will
stop.
always keep doing that. I will
Don't
keep
stop.
doing that all the time. Yeah. There's no change for me at all unless I see. Well, the only change will happen is when I rock back and feel comfortable that I'm seeing it happening.
Yeah, and it will, and it will have. I mean, we have to have faith, and prayers is important, but
Yes,
action makes
action
it
is more
happen.
important. Yeah, that's right. That is the most important thing, the implementation of these actions. You know.
Correct, correct. And I hope our listeners. I know we kind of. I hope our listeners enjoyed our show. I hope they
Well,
enjoyed
yes.
it today. I know somebody was trying to call, they didn't get through.
Yes, by the time I looked at the teleswitcher, they had gone.
I wonder
But
if it was our friend from abroad.
no, no, no. This was a local call.
Oh, this was okay, okay. But I mean, we'll be back together
Mm-hmm.
next week,
Yeah, and we'll appreciate you calling in. I'll
and
have to give you
please
guys the
call in.
numbers. Yeah. Or you can send your message in because we are streaming live on Facebook and the YouTube.
Great.
So if you want to pull back up the program, Mickela, you just type in Power 102 Digital Afternoon Power Drive and bingo.
Yeah, I did it. I did it last week. I said, "Whoa, we're moving with the times. We're moving."
Yes.
So that's really good. That's really good. But it was a great show, Dave.
It is and it
I had a
always
good
will
time
be.
with you.
Yes, yes, yes. I appreciate it so much and I look forward to these Thursdays because I need your voice to be heard a little more.
Yes, I know you start to quarrel with me the next time.
Yeah.
You're going to get a quarrel the next time.
Yes,
It
yes, yes.
will. I promise
Never
you.
to congratulate you for setting things straight in that matter you had. And I hope
Yes.
that the others will learn from that,
Yes.
you know.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And we move forward. There's
Yes.
no hate in any of this. We
No, no,
just
no, 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 no,
do the
no.
right thing, and we move forward.
Exactly.
And thank you, Dave, and thank you for reading that very long judgment. 27 pages, and you said to me, I read it in its entirety. I said, wow, the
Yeah.
only person
Yeah, it
besides
was
lawyers, but
interesting. It
thank you
was
so much.
interesting because I've had the individual in my company on several occasions live on
Sure,
air.
sure,
You
of
know,
course, yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
understand the whole thing, and I had to read it to understand it because who knows, sometimes it's good to know how these legal things play out.
That's good. Absolutely, absolutely. And I was thinking of also, I will publish the judgment because you learn from it and see how it
Of
works and
course, of
how people think and the thinking behind the judge, why the reason behind doing what he did. So yeah, and I will post it up definitely for sure.
Yes. And it will surely teach some of them to to behave
Yes,
themselves.
think.
Yes, I'm seeing the final message has came in here. Very good show. Keep it up. Nice is the person's sobriquet. So I want to compliment Nice, Iwat Raj Paul,
Wow.
Richard Duku, and the people who connected us on via the messaging board here.
Oh, thank you very, very much. Thank
Yes,
you very much. And we'll see you guys next week.
yes, next week we're sure to be together again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dave.
Yes, be safe out there.
Okay, you too. Bye bye. Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
Trinidad.
That's it for today's edition of Hard Talk, Power 102 Digital Thursday with Mickela Panday.